Hey folks, BreakAway Homesteader here. I want to thank you for tuning into this series. This series is about bug out bags and what you can do and how you can build a exclusive bug out bag for your needs. If something were to happen, you'd have everything you need to either get away from that situation, or if you're stuck at home and you're bugging in home if something happens. So what we're going to do is build a bug out bag together, and as each piece comes in, we will go ahead and add that to the bug out bag, and we'll tally a total for that bug out bag, and eventually that bug out bag will be complete and we'll either meet our goal or be far underneath it. Now this video series is about purchasing generic over name brand, and when you purchase name brand items, you know you're getting the quality, but you know you're paying 3 to 10 times as much as you would for the same kind of quality product, but just not a name brand. And so the first video in this series is going to be about just that, comparing generic to name brand items. So without further ado, let's get on to it.
So let's go ahead and get started with this presentation. This is building your bug out bag, and it's a comparison and alternative to Big Shot bug out bag checklist. And so what we're going to do in this presentation is run through a big store checklist for a bug out bag. So this big store came up with a bug out bag checklist, and we're going to go side by side with this checklist and compare the cost between their name brand products and generic products. And so let's go ahead and get started. So backpacks. Most big store bug out bag checklists involve 3 different types of bags. There's a tactical backpack, there's a hiking backpack with a rigid frame, it's an exterior frame, and a hiking backpack with an internal frame. So comparisons and budget. Majority of big store backpacks suggest or involve a tactical bag of some sort. Most people recommend 511 as the name brand bag to get. There are many cheaper alternatives out there with the same specs as this bag. So both these bags down here, one's a 511 and it's $170, and the other one is just an Amazon assault backpack and it's $22. Both of these are 72-hour backpacks, meaning it packs enough for 72 hours. Yet the price is totally phenomenally different, and the amount of money you can save just by getting this backpack instead of this 511 is tremendous, because when you're building a bug out bag, you're not building something that you're going to be using it every day. You're going to build out something, a bag that's going to be used for this emergency situation in the future. So you'll never know if it might actually happen or might not, but this bag will be there as a carrying case for the items you're going to need every day, even if nothing happens. And so think about that when you're building your bug out bag. Do you want name brand items? Do you really need name brand items, or do you want something to be there for your whole family? So you could buy literally six or seven these black backpacks for the one price of that 511 tactical. So the next part of this bug out bag checklist from the big store was the quick emergency shelter section. We're going to call these modules. A module is when you take a section of something, put a whole bunch of items together that's related to that one section, and that is called a module. So this is a storage bag, it's an emergency blanket, it's an emergency bivy or emergency sleeping bag, and it's a tube tarp or emergency. It's basically an emergency blanket tent. It's just a big tube that you put a string down the middle and hold the sides down to where it makes a tube tent. So here's the comparison between name brand and generic. You can see it's 3 times as cheap. So the next part of this is going to be general shelter needs. This is a light tent, a sleeping pad, a cooking stove or cooking set, and a sleeping bag. This is going to be your basics for your backpack, for yourself, for shelter in case you need it. And so again, on the left hand side you got your name brand items that were recommended on that list, and then on the right are the generic items, which are quality items, but just at a fraction of the price. Just because they're generic doesn't mean they're not as good as the ones on the left. Next up is going to be first aid. This is a huge list they put out on their big store checklist here. And so for this, you're going to go ahead and start with a basic base kit or base first aid kit to get started on this. So what you do is start with a base first aid kit and then check off what you can check off on here, and then anything else that's on there that's not checked off, go to the dollar store. And if you can't find it at the dollar store, that's when you go into the specialty stores. But excuse me, if you go to your base kit, you can see here that everything that they recommend in that kit starts with that base kit, that medical kit. The one on the left is a mountaineering first aid kit. The one on the right is a hiker first aid kit. If you take a look closely at these two kits, they are pretty much the same kit. You know, 2173 from REI. REI is a pretty good name brand, honestly. I'm sure you can find it cheaper, but this is just a prime example of the difference between a name brand and a cheaper generic version. So the next part, or the next module, would be your hygiene kit. And this would be a small bag filled with stuff for hygiene: toothbrush, toothpaste, a brush, or a small comb, baby wipes, Kleenex, lip balm, bug spray, soap, deodorant, so on and so forth. And this is a large list again for the hygiene kit, and I would recommend, guys, that you carry tampons regardless if you're a guy or a girl, just in case something happens. And so we took this list, or you take this list, and instead of buying it name brand, which is available from Ready to Go Survival at $69.95, it comes with a little molly kit, and it comes with all that stuff inside there. You could take one of those bags, those side bags from that small backpacks that we got in the beginning, head to the Dollar Tree and fill these items up with everything that's on that list for a mere $16. So the next section is going to be food and water. So here's the list here. You got your MREs, you got emergency food bars, emergency water, a bottle, survival fishing kit, so on and so forth. This is from the big brand store again, and all these items there are name brand, and it could tell you a lot of things about what they're pushing you towards when they go, okay, you have to get the S-Bit cook set with an alcohol burner, because that's, you know, that's going to be the best thing for you. Or you can get an alcohol stove or an alcohol tablet stove for a fraction of the cost. Now, this list really isn't horrible, but it lacks the fact that you want at least 72 hours of food and water in your bug out bag. Notice it says you only need 2 MREs. That's only 3,200 calories for 3 days. You need to eat that daily to keep up with the hard work. If you're huffing it, if you're walking, you need to burn at least 3,200. You're going to burn at least 3,200 calories a day. So you're going to need at least 3,200 calories a day for 72 hours to get to where you're going. So we're going to bump that up to 6 MREs along with that emergency food bars, because 3 is 2, 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you have those emergency calories, an emergency bar, if you need to continue to eat, you have that extra calories for you to burn there. So let's do that little comparison here. The difference in price, I priced this out with a list from previously, this list here, and this is what I've computed the cost as generic compared to name brand, $225 to $111.09. And you see the trend here, folks. You can build your bug out bag for a fraction of the cost, and this is, you know, saving over half the cost. So the next step is going to be your tool bag. You don't want to forget a tool bag for your bug out bag. These are specific multifunction tools that can help out in a pinch, and a toolkit. A tool is something that makes things easier. So I'll give you an example. The difference between a flint striker and a lighter. A lighter will take a lot less time. Below is a list from the from that big survival site on what kind of tools should be in your bug out bag. get everything from a headlamp to a compass to a Gerber multi-tool to something as simple as a pen or a USB key with all your documents on it. So the difference between name brand and generic is again 3 to 1. So next up, we're going to talk about personal protective equipment. PPE protects the most important parts of your body. Gloves for your hands, protection for your eyes, hearing protection, respiratory protection, and the list goes on and on. The big store checklist is on the right there, and that's what it suggests. The checklist is right on as far as what you need for PPE. And so again, half the price for generic compared to name brand items. So communications is another tool that you're going to want to have, and that big brand store group put this list together, this checklist together, and there are a lot of items on it. But communications is a vital tool in any emergency situation because it gives you the ability to transmit information. And so this is that big list they're talking about, and if you get everything on this list, it's going to cost you over $500, $523.43. You can get those same items that have the same function and the same quality for roughly half the price, $276. So the next kit's going to be the fire kit. I know I'm really going through this quick, guys, but it's a long list of things that you're going to have in your bug out bag, and we want to get to this end so we can go ahead and start this first module and get you going on building a bug out bag. Get us both going on building a bug out bag. So your fire kit's going to it ranks at the top of needs for your survival situation. With a fire kit, you can cook, you can sanitize water, food, you can create heat, you can even defend yourself from predatory animals or other things, even human animals. So the big survival stores recommend these items on the right here on that checklist, and name brand will be $42. You can get all this generic same quality items for $15. So the next slide that's coming up is an essential, and it's only meant for those who are allowed to carry guns. If you have a felony or anything like that, I'm sorry, it's illegal for you to carry guns, but in an SHTF situation, you know, that right may come back to you around, but it's not recommended from this channel that if you are a convicted felon that you buy a handgun. So check this out. Name brand Glock, pepper spray, ammo, and a stun gun. You can get a decent Glock between $500 and $700. I would say, you know, between $540 and $600. Pepper spray and stun gun and that 25 rounds of ammo, you're going to be spending around $700. You can get a high point for about $180. You can get that 9mm handgun for about, like I said, $180 from High Point, and still have what's left over for the rest of those items, and you can spend again a third of the cost that it would cost make name brand items a part of your bug out bag. So the next part is called a breaching kit, the breaching module. The breach means to open, and with a kit like this in your bug out bag, you'll be able to get into a certain space. You got 3 options with breaching a lock or an area or someplace. You can pick it, you can bypass it, or you can break it. I'll give you an example. Fence, you're gonna clip the wires on the fence to get through it. You're gonna break it. You're gonna bypass a door jam, or you're gonna pick a door jam, or you're gonna knock a door jam in to get inside to a space. So the 3 items they recommend on the big brand checklist there are these bolt cutters, SPAX tools, and high quality lockpick set. You can get the same stuff, almost the same exact brand items for $83 compared to the name brand items. So next up, again, this is something we don't ever want to deal with, but we want to be prepared for in case it does happen. CBRN, or chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear events. These are the 4 words we pray each day we never have to hear. These kits will be essential in the future, but does not have to cost you an arm and a leg to protect yourself. Here's the list from the big brand store, and it gives you name brand items and everything you're going to need to protect yourself from nuclear fallout, radiation, so on and so forth. Radiation goes through all items except for dense items. So it doesn't matter if you're wearing this PPE or not. It's only going to protect you from contamination of your outer body, not from contamination on your inner body. If there's actual rays going on, whether it be nuclear, then it's going to go through you. But any chemical, biological agents that can be on the outside of your body can be kept outside your body and not internal if you make the proper protective guidelines to making yourself impervious from that getting into your internal system. That's in through your lungs, through your nose, through your eyes or ears, any other orifices, and on top of your skin as well. Our biggest organ is the skin, and it does absorb a lot. And if you don't believe me, just take a clove of garlic and rub it on the bottom of your feet, and within seconds you'll be able to taste that garlic in your mouth, and that just tells you and shows you how quickly your body can transmit through your skin. So you know, they offer that list has Draeger, has DuPont, Honeywell, very name brand items, and off the shelf, brand new. This stuff will cost you $770. If you're willing to take a risk and buy some older stuff, which is still sealed in its package, you can actually get yourself the same package for the cost for, again, over a quarter of the price. $144 will get you the same items that you need. It's still DuPont safety protection coveralls, but they're just not the high quality ones, but these will get the job done. Next up is going to be your clothing module, and I think this is the last module before we get to talking about how much you can save between the two, generic and name brand. So this is the clothing. Again, this is name brand stuff. Under Armour, merino wool socks, Solomon Quest hiking boots, lightweight hiking pants. These are for just daily items. We're going to go up next with the winter items. And so for name brand, it's $397, and for generic, you can get these same items. Maybe not the best quality, but quality enough to where it's going to get you through what you need to get through for $66. And the next one shows the winter clothing. The big store name brand stuff on the left there equals out to about $730, and generic, that would cost you $130. So we've gone through this whole list of things that you should be putting in your bug out bag if you want to do it right the first time. There's only one thing left to do. Let's tally up those numbers. So for name brand total, it's going to be $4,325.61. For the same items, just generic but the same quality, you're going to spend $1,310.88. Folks, the proof is right there. You could build 3 bug out bags for the price of one name brand bug out bag. And so that's the point of this video, and this is kind of the genesis of the videos to follow. Next up, we're going to be building a bug out bag together. We're going to start with video number 1, which is going to be that bug out bag. Then we're going to talk about flashlights. Then we're going to talk about cook sets. We're going to go through this list step by step, and we're going to tally up these numbers each week as we build it up little by little. And I would love for you guys to build a bug out bag with me. And if you need any advice or anything like that, I'd be happy to give you that advice. Just send me a message on my email, which is breakawayhomesteader@gmail.com. So this is the end of this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that bell button, and click always on that option there. And then every time we come out with a new section of this bug out bag that we're going to build together, it'll give you that reminder that it's coming out as I release these videos. I plan to do at least one a week for one item to be added to the bug out bag, and before you know it, this bug out bag will be complete, and I'll have a complete bug out bag for one person in my family. You could do the same thing. And again, I hope you guys have a great day, and stay tuned.